The detention of 11 Nigerian Air Force personnel by authorities in Burkina Faso has come to an end after 9 days of diplomatic engagement between the two countries. While initial reports focused on procedural issues, the incident also highlighted the importance of clear military coordination, respect for national sovereignty, and effective communication among West African states.
It is regrettable that there were irregularities in the documents, particularly with regards to authorization to fly over Burkinabe airspace. This is unfortunate, and we apologize for this regrettable incident. We also discussed the case of a leader of a Nigerian political party who has made disparaging comments about this incident, which is undoubtedly linked to misunderstanding of the situation.
The resolution of the situation underscores the role of diplomacy in addressing sensitive security-related matters and maintaining regional cooperation. On December 8, 2025, a Nigerian Air Force C-130 Hercules aircraft was forced to land in Burkina Faso after it entered Burkinabe airspace without prior clearance, and this is while on its way to Portugal for scheduled maintenance, according to Nigeria. Burkina Faso's authorities flagged issues with the flight documentation and detained all 11 military personnel on board. For 9 days, the crew remained in custody as Nigerian diplomatic efforts, led by Foreign Minister Yusuf Tuggar, worked to resolve the situation. Now, the resolution came only after Nigeria provided what Burkina Faso described as satisfactory explanations and a formal acknowledgement of procedural irregularities. Recall, Nigeria, as a leading member of ECOWAS, has been enforcing strict sanctions against Burkina Faso since the 2022 military coup that brought Captain Ibrahim Traoré to power. Now, these are not minor sanctions. ECOWAS imposed border closures, financial restrictions, trade limitations on Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Now, these three Sahel states have been operating under severe constraints, with limited access to regional airspace and constant scrutiny of their flight operations. So when a Nigerian military aircraft landed, think about it, like, how is Nigeria flying into a country that is actively sanctioning? This is where the detention starts to make complete sense. Burkina Faso operates under airspace restrictions imposed by ECOWAS, restrictions that Nigeria helped enforce. Every flight Burkina Faso operates requires extensive clearances, detailed flight plans, and constant justification. Yet a Nigerian military aircraft appears in one of their city without what Burkina Faso considered proper authorization. Traoré's government was saying, sanctions don't grant you immunity from our sovereignty. If you have to follow strict protocols under your restrictions, you will have to follow even stricter protocols when operating in our airspace. President Ibrahim Traoré leads a government that has made sovereignty and independence its central message. Since taking power, Burkina Faso has expelled French troops, shut down foreign military bases, and withdraw from ECOWAS alongside Mali and Niger to form the Alliance of Sahel states. For Traoré, detaining Nigerian military personnel sends multiple messages simultaneously to his domestic audience that he won't be pushed around by regional powers, to ECOWAS that sanctions don't translate to special privileges, and to the international community that Burkina Faso will enforce its territorial sovereignty regardless of the diplomatic coast. Now, the detention also exposed the flaw in ECOWAS' sanction strategy. You cannot sanction a country into submission while simultaneously expecting that country to grant you unrestricted access to its territory and airspace. So, Nigeria found itself trapped in a diplomatic corner. They couldn't aggressively push back against the detention because doing so would invite uncomfortable questions about why their military aircraft was in a sanctioned country in the first place. The usual tools of, Nigerian regional dominance, economic pressure, military posturing, ECOWAS leverage were all compromised by the circumstances. Any public escalation would highlight Nigeria's violation of the sanctions framework they helped create, right? So Nigeria had to take the diplomatic route. Foreign Minister Tuggar's mission to Ouagadougou resulted in Nigeria providing what accounted to a formal acknowledgement of procedural failures. This was damage control to prevent the incident from becoming an international embarrassment. Besides that, the geographic reality makes the situation even more complex. Burkina Faso is landlocked, right? Surrounded by 6 countries with no direct access to the Atlantic coast. For international connectivity, trade routes, and even basic regional travel, Burkina Faso often needs to transit through neighboring airspace, including Nigeria's. Nigeria, with its southern Atlantic coastline and extensive airspace, controls critical routes that landlocked Sahel nations depend on. Under normal circumstances, this would give Nigeria tremendous leverage. But these are not normal circumstances. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have formed, a defensive alliance specifically to counter what they view as ECOWAS overreach and Nigerian dominance. They have shown they're willing to accept economic hardship and, diplomatic isolation rather than submit to external pressure. This means Nigeria cannot simply retaliate by restricting Burkinabe access to its airspace without triggering a broader regional crisis. Such a move would confirm the Sahel nations' narrative that ECOWAS is a tool of Nigerian hegemony rather than genuine regional cooperation. I have said this before and I'll say it again, but this specific incident is a symptom of ECOWAS's larger crisis. The organization was designed to promote West African unity and cooperation, but it's increasingly seen in the Sahel as a vehicle for Nigerian influence and Western interests. The sanctions on Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger were meant to pressure these countries back toward, civilian governance. Instead, they have accelerated the fracture. All 3 countries have formally withdrawn from ECOWAS and are building alternative regional structures. When Nigeria's aircraft was detained, it demonstrated that ECOWAS sanctions lack the teeth to actually control these countries. Burkina Faso proved that economic pressure doesn't translate to operational control. You can sanction a country's economy, but you cannot ignore its sovereignty over its own territory. Now, the fact that Nigeria, had to negotiate rather than simply demand the crew's release is significant. I want you all to see that. Like a decade ago, Nigeria might have made a phone call and the issue would have been resolved within hours. I mean, the 9-day standoff shows how much regional power dynamics have shifted. The resolution required Nigeria to provide detailed explanations about the, flight's purpose, acknowledge procedural shortcomings, and essentially accept Burkina Faso's authority to detain military personnel operating in its airspace. That's not a small diplomatic concession from West Africa's dominant military power. For Burkina Faso, the release came after achieving its objectives. Sovereignty respected, procedures enforced, and Nigeria held accountable to the same standards they impose on others through sanctions. Nigerian military planners are undoubtedly reviewing protocols for any missions transiting through or near Sahel nations. Perfect documentation, advanced diplomatic clearance, and detailed flight plans are now non-negotiable. Like for other regional militaries, the era of informal military cooperation based on regional relationships is over. Every flight, every mission, every transit requires formal authorization and transparent communication, especially in politically, sensitive areas. Now, Nigeria and the Sahel countries don't trust each other as much as before. Like, they're still neighbors and would depend on each other for trade and security. Nigeria needs peace in the Sahel because problems there affects its northern areas. At the same time, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger rely on access to the coast and airspace for trade. Going forward, they will work together more through formal rules and agreements instead of just informal understanding, and that's what we hope for African countries to unite and work together, of course. The detention and release of Nigeria's Air Force crew shows that West Africa is moving into a new phase. Yep. Smaller countries are confidently asserting their independence, and traditional ideas about power are evolving. Burkina Faso made sure its position was clear and respected, while Nigeria welcomed back its crew and embraced a new way of working together. Right? Is a win-win, I think. Both countries now focus on negotiation and respect to guide their relationship. Planes will keep flying, borders will stay open, and cooperation will continue where needed. The rules have changed, and everyone is adapting to what that means. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. This is Africa Insight with Hikmah, and see you in the next one.